homies, my name is John Solo, and welcome to Star Wars Universe 101. Last time we met, I shared with you guys everything that's been revealed about Maz Kanata's backstory. At the end of that video, which is linked in the description down below, I asked you guys to vote on what you wanted the next SWU 101 lecture to be about, and after counting over 700 comments, it seems like the people have spoken. As you can probably tell by the title, today we're talking about Captain Phasma. Similar to a lot of you guys, I was incredibly disappointed by Phasma's role in The Force Awakens. Out of all of the characters introduced to us in the new episode, she seemed like one that people were most hyped for, and reasonably so. In addition to her unique and BA appearance, she's also the first leading female villain in a Star Wars film. Or at least that's how her character was presented to us. It turned out that she ended up having like 11 lines in the whole thing, and pretty much none of the hype was justified. I'm gonna offer my own thoughts on the matter later on in this video, as well as try to provide an explanation for her lackluster performance, but I have good news for those of you who wanted to see more Phasma in episode 7. According to the president of Lucasfilm, Phasma will be returning in episode 8 with a much bigger role. It's because of this that I feel like it's a good idea to go over everything we know about Captain Phasma, so find a seat near the front, take out a pencil and a sheet of paper. Class is in session. Interestingly, Captain Phasma's rank within the First Order is much higher than her title suggests. She's a part of the unofficial command triumvirate that's made up of her, Kylo Ren, and General Hux. Despite this, she doesn't let her authority get to her head. She insists on fighting alongside her stormtroopers on the battlefield instead of leading the battle from the comfort of a war room. To further prove her dedication, she has memorized the serial number of every single stormtrooper under her command. She also personally oversees the training of every stormtrooper underneath her command. It is her firm belief that a stormtrooper's loyalty must be to the First Order before himself or any of his comrades. This proved to be a problem during the training of FN-2187, who Phasma tried multiple times to recondition before he was promoted to a full-fledged stormtrooper. Phasma also thinks that the Empire stormtroopers were not nearly as effective as they could have been, and she blames this on political interference as well as the overambitiousness of Imperial officers. It's because of this that she does her best to make sure that politics plays no part within the stormtrooper ranks. In my opinion, one of the most interesting things about Phasma is how unique her armor is, but the chromium isn't just for show. In addition to serving as an easier way to differentiate her from the rest of her stormtroopers and to show that she is of commanding rank, the finish also protects her from harmful radiation and has a pretty cool metaphorical meaning. The armor serves as a symbol of past power, and that's because the chromium comes from a salvaged Naboo yacht that used to belong to Chancellor Palpatine. Her weapon of choice is a customized F-11D blaster rifle, and it's about as versatile as she is. It can be used one or two-handed, it has an extendable grip for long-range sniping, a scope with 8 power magnification, and a stock for added stability. As you can probably tell, the weapon has a chromium finish as well, meaning it was specially made for Phasma. The captain is a specialist in all First Order small arms, in addition to having training in vehicular and starfighter combat. She's also extremely proficient in physical combat. She spends every waking hour honing her combat abilities as she's obsessed with physical perfection. This obsession is also evident in her decision to routinely patrol the areas of Starkiller Base that are under her command. This is all done on foot, so she ends up walking dozens of kilometers a day. She says her regular patrols are an efficient way of keeping her senses keen as well as her troopers in line. Unfortunately, this routine proved to be her undoing, as this is what she was up to when Chewbacca tackled her and took her as him, Finn, and Han Solo's hostage. And this is where Phasma was a huge letdown. It seemed that pretty much the entire audience expected Phasma to refuse under any circumstances to lower the Starkiller Base shields, but that didn't prove to be the case at all. Now we have to give her some credit because she didn't immediately give in to her captors, even though it was almost immediate. She initially did refuse to help them, but Chewie threatened to crush her inside her armor, and Finn threatened to shoot her from close range. Once in the control room, she also claimed that she needed a second officer to lower the base's shields, but Han ended up calling her out on her bluff. Honestly, the whole interaction was kind of a letdown, but you gotta think about it from Phasma's perspective. She's been training First Order stormtroopers for a really long time, and she genuinely felt that they had been appropriately trained and that they were in large enough numbers that no matter what the Resistance was planning, they would have been able to stop them. So I see where she's coming from. Better off not dying and continuing to train stormtroopers so the First Order becomes more dangerous as a whole than sacrificing herself and having that sacrifice be in vain when the Resistance finds another way to lower the shields anyway. Nonetheless, I still wish she put up at least a slightly bigger fight so we could have seen at least some of these impressive abilities in action instead of her just being literally a throwaway character. Get it? Because she was like thrown in a trash compactor. And now, what I thought to be the most interesting thing about Phasma, or the most interesting thing I learned related to Phasma while I was researching her. You see, when the character Captain Phasma was created, there was originally no intention for her to be a woman. However, because the internet, aka probably Tumblr, was upset about the lack of female roles, they switched up the captain's gender. The problem with this is, as far as we know, stormtroopers have always been male. How could Phasma rise through the ranks as a female and earn the title of captain when female stormtroopers just weren't a thing? Well, according to the visual dictionary, and this is obviously a change in canon, there were both male and female stormtroopers in the Empire's army. However, the armor kept the gender of the soldiers concealed. So really, Phasma's gender is nothing new, and as the visual dictionary puts it, she pays little heed to outdated notions of inequality between genders, an idea common on undeveloped worlds. So really, Phasma's gender is nothing new. And this is where I think a lot of the hype for Captain Phasma came out of. Because she was originally supposed to be a man, she was just going to be another character like General Hux, who really didn't seem to be very significant at all. But because she was the first female leading villain, this was a huge deal to everybody. The problem was, they didn't actually switch up the role of Captain Phasma at all, so she ended up playing a very minor part despite getting all of this hype. And that's probably why they made her survive the explosion of Starkiller Base, and why she's going to have a much bigger role when Episode 8 gets released. So the time has come to voice your guys' opinions on what you want the next episode of Star Wars Universe 101 to discuss. I have 4 options popping up on screen now. Make sure you cast your vote in the comment section down below. Oh, and to the few people in the last video who commented their vote 50 times thinking I was stupid enough to count every single one of them, your comments are hidden on this channel and will be forever. So I hope that was worth it. After you vote, I've got the same requests as usual. Make sure you hit that like button with a big fat thumbs up. In addition to voting, make sure you leave me your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you know anybody else who's a huge Star Wars fan or loved the character Captain Phasma, make sure you share this video with them by hitting that share button down below. And if you want to be notified every time I upload another video, hit that subscribe button. I've got one Star Wars video coming out every single week, in addition to another Disney video coming out as well. That's a guaranteed 2 videos every single week. In addition to that, I've got the links to all of my social media accounts in the description. That's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Go give those a like or follow if you're feeling it. Before I go, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. An annotation to the previous episode of SWU 101 will be popping up momentarily, and a link to it is in the description down below. Make sure you go check that out as well. In case you forgot, my name is John Solo, and may the Force be with you.